I've got new data that comes out once every 3 years that's going to help answer the question, am I on track? Am I doing the right things? Do I have enough for my age? And most importantly, just am I going to be okay? It's fun to see the averages and see how we compare. But the more important thing is once we know that info, then what do we actually do about it to improve our own numbers? How do we make our own net worth better or increase? So we'll focus on 5 practical tips throughout this video to improve your own net worth and then feel more confident about moving into retirement. I've been helping people for 15 years move into retirement, and I want to share some of the habits and some of the actions that the most successful people have taken so that you can improve your own financial life too. The data that we'll be using comes from the Federal Reserve's Survey of Consumer Finances, which is that study that only comes out once every 3 years. And before we get into it, a quick refresher. Net worth is simply everything that you own, like your home or your 401k or your investments, your car, minus what you owe, like your mortgage or loans or credit card debt or car loans. And it's just a great snapshot of where we stand. One of the best things that we can do to improve our own net worth is actually, it's not that hard, but it just takes a little bit of an investment, a time investment. And that is to start tracking that net worth number at least quarterly. You might know the well-known management consultant, Peter Drucker. He said, if you can't measure it, then you can't improve it. There's a lot of people out there who are not moving in the right direction because they don't even know where they are currently when it comes to their financial numbers. And this is timeless wisdom too, because if you rewind the clock a few thousand years, King Solomon said, be sure you know the condition of your flocks. Now, I'm no expert, but I believe that flocks were a big part of net worth back in those days. So this net worth number is just the one number to monitor regularly. And if you're not already, I'd suggest checking it at least quarterly, monthly if you're really ambitious. And if you don't like the idea of tracking this manually, there's a lot of websites out there that can help you track it automatically, like Personal Capital or New Retirement or Monarch Money are a few that can do this for you. Now, as we get into the data here, tell me if you're as surprised as I was. The thing that surprised me the most is that the median net worth is up over 47% over the last 3 years. That's a huge increase. And this is for ages 55 to 64 and median net worth. And we could see the increase. It's up to $364,000. But there's something misleading here that's important to know. So if you're thinking, I don't think my net worth went up 47% over the last 3 years, don't get discouraged because there's a big reason why this spiked like this. You want to take any guesses as to what it might be? It's primarily due to home value. People's home equity is a major part of their net worth, and the total housing market has really increased over the last few years, therefore increasing individuals' net worth as well. Well, the problem with that is home equity isn't always a useful asset in our retirement plan, right? There's liquid investments like cash or retirement accounts, the 401ks and investment accounts. And then there's illiquid investments like your home or maybe other real estate investments or bars of gold. We can't easily spend those things or the value in our home like we can with the liquid monies. So it's not bad. We just don't want to influence, how we feel too much when it comes to our feeling of success, right? We don't want to become too overconfident because seeing our home value go from $500,000 to $700,000 is amazing. And that's great. And our net worth increases by 200K. That's wonderful. Maybe it gets us to millionaire status. But remember, home values, you don't always live off the home value unless you sell it or there's a line of credit. And home values can change quickly in the opposite direction as well. I'm sure you remember 2008 vividly, but we've just got to remember to increase our confidence and our net worth. We want to focus on the things that we can control. If we focus on what we can't control, it leads to worry and anxiety because we can't do anything about it, right? One of the only things we could do is go ultra conservative or move a lot to cash because we're afraid of the markets or something like that. But that ends up hurting us in the long run. The things we can control are some of these things here. And you've seen these before if you've seen this channel before. Here's the net worth tip. When tracking your net worth, think about keeping your home value the same as the purchase price, whatever you bought it for. Don't tie it to the estimated value or to the Zestimate from Zillow because that can change quite a bit. My home is a lot higher in value than when I bought it, but my net worth statement, it shows the purchase price as the home value. And maybe that's overly conservative, but if you're getting close to retirement, it might make sense to be thinking that way or acting that way too. So when I sell the house, then my net worth statement's going to change. Hopefully it's to the, I sell it for more and that would be great, but that's when the net worth statement changes. Now, here's the bad news when we look back at the data. The part of the net worth that we do control, like how much we're investing or the value of our accounts, our 401ks or our cash, or how much debt we're paying off, that's not changing as much, or that's not going up as much. It's only at a median average of $67,000. And these are the things that play a big part in our retirement assets. These are the financial assets. These are the things we'll actually be living off of and using in retirement. But whether you have 67,000 or 6.7 million, I've got 5 steps to follow to increase net worth. We already went over tracking net worth, and what gets measured gets improved, and then being aware of home values impact on our net worth. Next, we want to start with the end in mind. And the common way people do this in retirement plan is to decide this nest egg value, this future nest egg that they need to retire. What's their number? But there's a better way. In helping hundreds of retirees retire confidently, we found that it's much better to focus on the income or the cash flow need first, and not so much the lump sum. Yes, they're related, but they change the mindset a little bit. The first step is finding how much you need or want coming in when you are retired. Let's just make up a number. Let's say it's $5K a month coming in. Then you take that number, subtract your Social Security, the estimated Social Security, or pensions, or maybe other real estate income you have, or whatever you might be getting. And then you arrive at the income number you need to rely on that nest egg from, right? So take what you need minus take Social Security and pretend it's now $3,000 a month. Now we need $3,000 a month from our nest egg. That tells you how big our nest egg needs to be. The problem with just focusing primarily on the big number we've seen is once people get to it, then they're close to retirement or they can retire, but then they think, oh, maybe I want to add a little bit more, or maybe just a little bit more to feel a little bit more secure. And the goalpost keeps moving, but getting clear on their income and their need with their income, it becomes more realistic and maybe more of a reason behind the why behind the goal. And on that topic of income, it's a useful practice to identify the 2 types of expenses that we need. There's needs, each month, like mortgage payment or food or housing costs or healthcare costs. And then there's the non-essentials or the wants, right? The entertainment cost or the travel, eating out, things like that. Usually your needs, your absolute essentials, the things you need to live on are much lower than your first guess. So that's a helpful exercise. Now, the next thing is we want to look at the specifics to the questions of what's my retirement picture going to look like? What if I saved more? Or what if I retired earlier or later? Or what if I invested this different way? The best ways to do this is either build your plan by yourself or find a retirement specialist. If you're doing it yourself, my favorite retirement planner calculator is below this video. And when you do this and get the specifics, it can really help you identify what the likelihood of success is in retirement. Now, if you're working with an advisor now who's just mainly focused on investments and not talking about the tax efficient withdrawal planning, or talking about just tax reduction strategies overall, you can reach out to me below as well. And then on to the next thing, which is identify your blind spots or the big risks. Some of these risks, when we look at retirement, they're easy to identify, like market risk, right? Markets going up and down, or inflation risk, like we've experienced the last few years, or at least felt the last few years. The interesting thing is even when they're identified, people don't often prepare for them. We've seen, take inflation risk. New clients coming to us, they often don't have the right asset classes for higher than expected inflation seasons. And by the way, there's really only 4 economic seasons we can go through. The one that we felt the most recent is higher than expected inflation, but we want to be prepared for any of the 4. The good news is there's asset classes that will do well in each one of these seasons. Now, the next thing is very important. So videos like this one or others that you might see, they might be helpful to see how you stack up, among other people, similar age group to you, but we have to be careful of how it's making us feel, right? There's a popular verse about those who are comparing themselves among themselves are not wise. I'm guilty of doing this. It's hard not to do this, but just be aware. If you're above average, if you watch the video and you're above average and it looks great, don't let it increase your joy too much, and don't get overconfident. Or if you're below average and you're feeling kind of down, don't let it remove your joy too much. Don't give up in taking the positive actions to actually improve things. Focus on the things we can control, like tracking your net worth. Know your numbers, right? Get the specifics of your plan. Identify the blind spots and potential risks, and then find the likelihood of success, and then start making adjustments to increase that likelihood. And then remember, building net worth takes time, but time is going to pass whether we take proactive steps or not. So might as well take action now to make our financial future even better. Now, there's something related to what we just talked about, and that's at minute 229 of this video. and it has to do with smart retirees and what they do with their money. So click on the video and go to minute 229 to see it's similar to what we talked about, but give some of the details. I'll see you in that video, and then take care.